Hey guys, a few weeks back I posted these trunk tables on my Instagram account, and today I'm going to show you guys how I made them. I stumbled across these stumps on the side of the road a few months ago, and if you follow me on my Instagram stories, you saw the entire process as it went down. These were very heavy. I don't know how I got them in my car, but somehow I got them in my car. This is a long process. I couldn't just get started on doing this project. It was literally 6 months of patience. I had to wait for, first thing I did was and I didn't show it in the video, and I'm really sorry, was I had to remove the outer bark. It just wasn't salvageable. And so I went ahead and removed all the bark, and I'm sorry I don't have a video of that. But once all the bark was removed, I enlisted a friend to come and help me level out the trunks. Now ideally you would use this little contraption that he's using to level out the stumps. Unfortunately it broke, so we had to just go old school and get a tape measure and measure out all the way around on a flat surface, or as flat as we could, to get it as even as possible. I really wasn't very picky on how level or how perfect the stump was. There's ways to get it way more level and way more perfect. I just wanted something rough and natural to use as end tables in my living room. So my friend is using his chainsaw, and I really felt like I could have used the chainsaw. It was his. Actually, no, sorry, I lied. I borrowed it from my dad, and I felt like I could have used it. I just never used a chainsaw, so it was nice to have his help to help us get this done. These were big stumps. I would really suggest getting if you want a more smoother finish, I would suggest getting a chainsaw that has a bigger blade that like matches the width of the trunk. We just didn't have that, and we used what we had, and we made what we had work. The reason why it took us 6 months to do this project was because we had to wait for the logs to completely dry out before we could really do any work on them. And how I did that was I just put them in my garage on top of some bricks so that air could circulate through them. And depending on where you're located, if you're not in a wet climate, you may not need to wait so long for your stumps to dry out. But once we got everything leveled, I went ahead and gave it a good sand. I switched between 180, like a really rough grit, to a really fine grit, and just sanded and sanded and sanded until they got smooth like this. I also washed everything down with some bleach. Everybody asked me about that black spot, and I guess it's just an imperfection in the wood. I haven't had any issues with it growing, so I don't think it's mold. But yeah, this is what they look like. And before I stained them, I went ahead and put a wood conditioner on there by Mirror Wax, and it just helps with the staining process, and it helps prevent the logs from absorbing so much stain, and so it's more cost effective. I used first the Mirror Wax finish with like the oak, like aged oak or something like that, and so I just put that on top right after I put the wood conditioner on. And I didn't want a really dark finish, and so I would wipe it off as soon as I got done applying it. I would just wipe it right off, and I did the same thing to the sides. I had done a test run with another piece of log, and I had left it on for too long, and the log was really dark. And so I knew for this go around, I just wanted a touch of this oak color on there. So as soon as I put it on, I would wipe it right off. After I had applied the first stain, I decided I wanted a little bit more dimension, and so I added the Mirror Wax Classic Gray stain, and it basically just bumped it up a notch, brought out some gray tones in the wood, and it also tied into the gray sofas that I have. You don't have to do this step. I just wanted a little bit more of a different look. I didn't want just a yellow-brown look. I wanted, I don't know, I just felt like the gray helped give it a little extra something, a little extra pop. But if you're happy with the first stain that you have, then just go ahead and do that. But I like the combination of these two stains mixed together. And so I use the same technique with the gray stain that I did with the other stain, and I just wiped it off right away as soon as I put it on. I didn't want a gray log, I just wanted a touch or hints of gray in the log. And if you wanted to just keep your logs natural, you could just keep it as is, not stain it at all, and then just seal the wood with a polyacrylic. And that's what I used to finish off the project and protect the wood and the stain. I just sealed it with a polyacrylic from Mirror Wax as well, or sorry, Min Wax. I've been calling it Mirror Wax, sorry about that. But yeah, this is what it looks like after you put the polyacrylic on there, and it just protects the stump and the wood and the stain. There's also lots of options you could use as a base for your stump. I just chose to use some wood that I had on hand and put felt pads on the bottom to protect my floors. But this is the finished project. I hope that you liked it. Make sure that if you have not yet done so, subscribe. It really helps me out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Also, to keep up to date, follow me on Instagram and you can see all the things and projects that I work on as they're happening. But thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.